First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it. We're live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. If you hear any sounds behind me or some talking, that's what's going on there because we are in the actual newsroom. And what we're going to be talking about today is that hot weather that is out there. We've got a first alert weather update for you with the one and only Mr. Mark Nelsen, coming directly from wherever he's at in his magic room over there, where you can,
Mark's Corner.
Mark's Corner, yeah, as it's called in the business. But Mark, yeah, we're going to talk about this hot weather, but there's something else that just happened just here very recently that I know a lot of people are talking about, and that is an earthquake.
There was an earthquake, not in the Northwest, but up in Alaska. Here's Anchorage, here's Alaska right here, Gulf of Alaska. We're off the map here to the right. But yeah, there was an earthquake right here, I believe. Yeah, it was 7.2, and that was about 1:37 p.m. So what was that? About a half hour ago, right? This one was, I think this one, was that yesterday? Oh yeah, that was early this morning, just 5.0. But it's this one that then did prompt briefly, oh, let me do it again. Yeah, it prompted a tsunami warning just for the coastline of Alaska up here. Now this was there a few minutes ago, now it's gone, so that warning has been canceled. It's just an advisory now saying, okay, there might be some waves slopping around. There was never a warning for the Pacific Northwest coastline. So typically, I'll just tell you, Greg, typically this isn't a hard and fast rule, but I've noticed it's got to be around an 8 before we get excited about a tsunami coming from Alaska that's going to be anything significant. Okay. You know that Good Friday quake, was it 1964?
Yeah, that's the big one that destroyed like a whole lot of...
I think that was a 9.2 up in here, somewhere up in here. So it'd have to be really big for us to get a significant tsunami. Okay, weather time? Or do you have anything to add earthquake-wise?
Oh, no, just the earthquake-wise, I just want to say, yeah, that one from the 60s there in Anchorage. I know when you go visit Anchorage, a lot of their buildings are now built post that because it destroyed so much of that city.
Yeah, a huge land lifting and subsiding and stuff. Yeah, actually, yeah. I think it was right in this area. There's Anchorage, and it was somewhere in one of these sounds right in this area. But that did, remember, several people died on the Oregon coast from that tsunami. As far as I'm aware, in the last 200 years, that's the only time people have died on the coastline from a tsunami, I think.
Okay. Well, that's good enough for this because there's no warning here. So just everybody who was seeing that, yeah, all clear on that one. Yeah, let's talk about these temperatures that are out there right now.
Have you been outside?
I was outside earlier. Well, actually, I was outside earlier today. I was out at the Washougal motocross, and
oh, you were riding?
Yeah, no,
you were sending it, as the kids say.
They didn't want me to ride. I did put on the gear though, so I did have that going for me. So.
Nice day to put on the gear, huh?
Yeah, I put on the gear. But that was earlier today, so it wasn't too bad then. I don't know what it is like now.
Yeah, I was outside. I was working in the yard. I don't know. I was doing something with the raspberries, and that was probably about 10 a.m. or so, and it was still okay. Little breeze was nice. Humidity is lower today. We talked about that for the last few days. It would be lower humidity. But we started warmer this morning. We were 88 at noon, and these are the fresh temperatures. Yeah, just came in at 3 o'clock. We've got 94, 94, 94 up and down the valley. So if your temperature reads 110, that probably means your thermometer's out on the sun porch, right? It should be relatively close to this. Kelso 95, Olympia 94. So we're all in the mid-90s. Look at the coastline. Wow, that's perfection out there.
Yeah.
70s on the north coast. And then it's, notice it's not as warm east side. So this is a setup for us where we have actually slightly cooler air east of the Cascades. That's high pressure, that's denser air. So we have kind of what we call sometimes a wind reversal where we actually have a light easterly wind in the east side of the metro out of the gorge. That's like the icing on the cake for us to get really, really hot. And that has punched up the temperatures. We're running 5 to 10 degrees warmer west of the Cascades at this hour compared to yesterday. And here are the actual numbers in the metro. Now, some of these are home weather stations. Camilla and I were just discussing this. She's going to be coming on here for on the air at Fox 12. But some of these could be home weather stations that read a little bit warm, like this Oregon City. But that's official at Aurora, 95, McMinnville, 94, 94, 94, 94, and 94. Wow. Okay, so all the official stations are pretty close. Some in the foothills are real warm, too. But the point is, are we going to hit 100? Camilla, what do you think? She's over there working. Since this is Fox 12 now, we can go a little looser, right?
We can. We definitely can. Yeah. So behind the scenes, this is Mark's Corner right here, but there's also another corner where all the meteorologists hang out.
That's
You're not
Camilla's
allowed to go
corner.
back there. Yeah, definitely not
Camilla's
allowed to go
closet.
back there.
No, she just gave me the thumbs down. Yeah, that's possible. I bet we're going to hit about 98. She said, yeah. And I'll give Peyton full credit. Last night I said, give it a percentage. What's a percentage chance you think we hit 100? And she said, Peyton Major, that's our newest meteorologist. And she said 40%, and I said, no, I think it's 60% chance. And she said, that's just because I was like emotionally invested in the 100-degree temperature forecast. These kids, they're smart, they know. They're right. So we may just hit 98, we'll see. We're 94.3, typically we rise another 4 or 5 degrees from that point. So we're gonna be stinking hot, and 96 is the highest we've seen so far this season. Okay. All right. And I mentioned the easterly wind. We still have some east wind out of the west end of the gorge, but Portland has switched to a northwesterly wind. I have seen us hit 100 in the past with just a north wind. You're saying, wait a minute, Mark, why are we so focused on the wind? That's kind of a weather geek thing. Well, for us as meteorologists here, we know when we get the east wind, temperatures really spike. Like the Santa Ana wind, it comes off the Cascades and it warms up as it goes downhill. But I've seen us hit 100 with a northerly breeze, so we'll be close either way. Any questions so far, Greg? Because I got more graphics.
No, I want to see some more graphics. I do have some questions after this, but yeah.
Oh, you're loading up the questions. Okay, good.
Yes.
All right, so typically in the summertime, this is our typical weather pattern. We have dense and cool air offshore, over the cold ocean waters. And we typically have an onshore flow, whether it's weak or strong, determines whether we have morning low clouds. And this is nature's air conditioner west of the Cascades. But in the summertime, the intense sunshine, that heats especially the lower elevations of eastern Washington, north central Oregon. We get what we call thermal low, which is, when it gets hot, air has to rise, right? So there's almost like there's a little mini vacuum over here of air, and that's why we get that pretty constant westerly wind through the Columbia River Gorge, and we call this the North Pacific High, the NPH.
Okay.
And it's also hot over the California deserts, and that's why we have strong north wind along the Oregon coast most of the time in the summertime. But like I said, typically we get the strong west wind through the gorge out at Hood River and the Dalles, to a world-renowned windsurfing. We get our usual northwest wind coming up the Columbia River here in Portland. But every once in a while, during a heat wave in the summertime, the wind will reverse for a day, and we get that downslope wind, and that's why it is so hot today. Okay, so what do I have here? I forget what graphic I put in. Oh, just the basics. Yes, we're under first alert weather conditions here because we think we'll be right around 100 in the next 2 to 3 hours. It is drier out there. I just had lunch with my wife outside at about 1 p.m. Yeah, it was getting a little bit warm, but it was fine because there was a breeze and the humidity is low. And of course, we had that much warmer start. So there you go. Clear skies over us. Notice this morning there were some low clouds along the coast. We go through the visible satellite imagery. You can see that cram fire putting out lots more smoke again this afternoon, although it looks like the wind's starting to shift a bit down there. And so if you headed out, to wrap it up here, Greg, if you headed out this evening, 6 p.m., I think we'll still be around 97, 8 p.m., 90. Tough night for sleeping, although after midnight, we start to see more cooling as we start to get an onshore flow. That westerly wind is going to return. So I think that will help a little bit tonight. Shouldn't be quite as warm tonight here in the metro area. And one last graphic. We've talked about this the last few days on air. No records. Yesterday we hit 91. We actually underachieved yesterday. I thought we'd be 94. Today, if we hit 100, that still won't be a record. Record is 104. And tomorrow, this is Camilla just finished the forecast. This will be fresh at 4 o'clock on the news. 89 degrees for tomorrow. So I think tomorrow will be about 10 degrees cooler.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
No records.
Yeah. I'm good with the 80s. Like the 80s are awesome. I'll do a few 90 days. Once it starts getting a long time like that, though, as you mentioned there at night, when it doesn't cool down, that's when it gets miserable.
When I started here, PGE told me that about 34 years ago. PGE said about 30% of people in the metro area had air conditioning. I'm guessing it's more like 70 or 80% now.
Yeah.
I think summers have turned much hotter.
Yeah, that is true. It has definitely changed a lot. Something I was going to ask you about, you mentioned the smoke there from that, well, I can do this at the end, but some of that smoke there from that cram fire.
Yeah, let's back up.
Because they were, I had a segment on this earlier today, and they were talking about some of the wind blowing that smoke around, and they were saying it was blowing it south. Is that
right? Yes. 2 days ago when it first started. So today better be Wednesday, right? It's not Tuesday, right? Yeah, it's Wednesday.
Yes.
On Monday, we had a strong west wind coming down off the Cascades, that typical wind I talked about, and all the smoke was going out that way. And then on yesterday, it was the wind came in from the north out of Canada. That was our offshore wind flow, the easterly flow. But it shoved all that smoke into Bend yesterday and last night. Let's put it in motion again. It kind of looks like it's starting to change again. But for one, there's not quite as much smoke today. Yeah, you can start to see it shifting off to the southeast again here. So that tells me we're starting to get into more of a shift to northwesterly wind, and so more of that would go into more unpopulated territory. It looks like Central Oregon, Deschutes County, like Bend up to Redmond, is slightly better today air quality-wise than yesterday. Yesterday it was just all gray on the satellite image.
Yeah, okay, all right, yeah, thank you. I just wanted to check in on that to see where that was going to be going.
Yeah. Any other questions? You said you had a whole list.
Yeah, I mean, my whole giant list. No, I mean, I think this is good for right now. My next questions, I think you're going to answer because I want to know what's coming up.
What's coming up? I got the 7-day right here. Here we
Yeah,
go.
there we go.
Next 7 days with our fancy new graphics. And this is hot off the press. We're going to go upper 80s the next 2 days. So still kind of on the edge of warm to hot, although we've done this many times this summer. So I think that's pretty reasonable. And tomorrow night, if you don't have AC, tomorrow night's going to be much more reasonable. 60 in the city, 50s in the outlying areas. And then look how we cool off over the weekend. We actually have a big, what we call a trough or a big dip in the jet stream coming up by late in the weekend and next week. And the pattern is actually cooler than average for probably about 4 days there, at least Saturday through Tuesday, we think. Below average now is upper 70s to around 80. Overnight lows real comfortable. So basically, some people would say this is perfect summer weather. Some morning clouds off and on, maybe more than morning clouds Monday with just a slight chance for drizzle. And then probably still dry Tuesday and Wednesday with a little bit of warming. So that's the general plan is we're going to cool off about 10 degrees the next 2 days and then a big drop over the weekend. But, you know, this is big. Greg, I don't know if you have anything big coming up here, but, you know, people have weddings this time of the year or events or, you know, all sorts of outdoor events.
Yeah.
You really want that dependable weather from mid-July to mid-August.
I will say, oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, actually, this weekend I'm going to a concert festival, so that's perfect. That is perfect festival weather.
You don't want it hot, right?
No, but that's plenty warm. You could be out. Yeah, no, I love that. Thank you for that forecast, Mark.
Wait, I got one more graphic. Don't go anywhere.
Okay. All right. No,
I guess you can cut me off at any time. This is your show.
I could. But.
Yeah. So look at the all-time record highs, because just in our podcast, which we will be playing, I think at 2 p.m. maybe this Friday.
Yes, indeed. 2:30.
It's a 49-minute one this week. It's like bonus content. But I talked to Professor Paul Loikeith at PSU. He's the director of their climate section there, and he talked about the 2021 heat wave, the all-time greatest heat wave. It was surprising. Like globally, that's known as one of the most extreme events in recent history. But look how many of our records, like up and down I-5, were set during the 2021 heat wave. Can you believe Portland was 116? That's still hard to believe, even though we lived it.
I remember it just walking outside and it punching you in the face like you walked into a pizza oven.
Yeah, even Astoria made it to 101 there at Astoria. So anyway, so that was a great discussion. Talked with him about for about 20 minutes about that heat wave and what we could see in the future as our climate continues to warm.
That's great. That's going to be on
2 p.m. Or if you have our app, you can also see it right now.
Yeah, so up there on the app and the video version at 2 p.m. on Friday. So we'll have that for you. So yeah, 2021 heat wave is still mind-boggling. So I'm always interested in conversations about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mark, thank you as always. I did pull up here just for everybody who's watching on this stream. I've got the live look at Seaside. Oops, no, I don't. No, I just have me.
I bet there's lots of people there, right?
There are lots of people out there on that beach right now. I'm jealous of all of them. Well, the majority. Well, it is a lot of people, though. I don't necessarily like it when there's that many.
It's never really that busy out there, right?
No, I mean, it's still spread out, but I mean, this is the most people I've seen on that beach in a long time.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, yeah, look how many people are close to the water, too. That's interesting.
Yeah, they're all the way down there.
They're not back at the sand. They're farther back, or they're closer to the water. And, you know, it's like 70, 75 out there. That is perfection, once again.
That is perfect weather. I kind of want to head there right after work, but I don't think I'm going to. But either way, Mark, thank you, as always, for joining us here on Fox 12 Now. I appreciate it. I know you guys are busy, and it's good to keep us updated on everything that's happening. And again, to reiterate, no worries about the tsunami. So
we're clear.
We squashed that right at the beginning. But there we go. So we'll see what happens here in the next couple of hours with this temperature. And I know you said at 4 o'clock Camilla's going to be on. So for our 4 o'clock
I'll be on this
news.
evening as well. So we'll be tracking the temps. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna make a wild prediction. It's 98 this evening. That'll be
98. You're saying this evening. At a specific time? Do you have a time?
Well, between 4:30 and 6.
Between 4:30 and 6, 98.
Somewhere
there we go.
There, yeah.
So you watched it right here. So tune back in to see if Mark's prediction is correct. There for other newscasts. All right, Mark, awesome. Thanks for joining us.
See you, Greg.
And for everybody watching, this is Fox 12 Now. We'll talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler, and I already said it, but this is Fox 12 Now.